Do you remember how there was a weird energy between co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni when their film It Ends With Us was released? Well, it turns out there was something going on, as Blake has just sued Justin, but Justin is hitting back. So what really happened? Well, fans pointed out that Justin was noticeably absent from joint press events for the movie when it first came out, and that there weren't really any premiere photos of him and Blake together. According to a source who spoke to Us Weekly at the time, there were two camps on the film, Team Blake and Team Justin. This creative struggle set the tone for the negative experience behind the scenes and grew into them not speaking anymore. Now, this made sense as Justin only appeared on the red carpet solo and side by side with his wife Emily and other friends and family, but never with Blake or other co-stars. Now, unnamed sources told The Hollywood Reporter that there was a fracture among the filmmakers in post-production, and that Blake, who was a producer on the film, had commissioned her own cut of the film from editor Shane Reed, who was the editor on her husband Ryan Reynolds' film Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, everyone on the internet then pretty much switched on Blake, calling her the problem and digging up things that made the star look bad. A journalist stepped forward to talk about how uncomfortable they were interviewing Blake in 2016. Norwegian interviewer Kirsty Flaw, who goes by Curtsy, uploaded her 2016 interview with Blake that was so uncomfortable it made her want to quit her journalism career. At the time of the interview, Blake had announced her pregnancy at the Met Gala that May, but appeared to take offense when Curtsy starts the interview by congratulating her on her little bump. "Congrats on your little bump," Blake mockingly retorts to Curtsy, who visibly isn't pregnant, and later on in the interview, Blake and her co-star seem to just ignore Curtsy altogether. It's really awkward. Now, Blake had also been blasted as tone deaf and shallow after she hosted an interview with her It Ends With Us co-stars and failed to discuss the serious message behind the movie. Blake sat down with fellow cast members Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer, as well as author Colleen Hoover, and many people were left unamused by the lighthearted nature of their conversation. Now, the four women giggled together as they discussed everything from their dream job to their zodiac signs, but there was no mention of DV during their chat. And social media users were quick to slam them, particularly Blake, who hosted the interview, for partaking in the breezy questionnaire given the serious nature of the film, and for failing to speak about the topic. Now, everyone was blasting Blake for the way she promoted the movie, and there were many viral posts about the star, exposing her as a mean girl in Hollywood. Now, everyone just seemed to be over her, but at the end of December though, things heated up as Blake filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department on December 20th. Then she filed a lawsuit in New York federal court, which was brought against Justin Baldoni, as well as the film's production company, Wayfarer Studios, its CEO, Jamie Heath, Baldoni's publicist, Jennifer Abel, and crisis communications representative, Melissa Nathan. Now, Blake is alleging that Justin caused her to suffer severe emotional distress and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, belittlement, frustration, and mental anguish, in addition to lost wages. She then claimed that Justin improvised unwanted kissing, Justin called her personal trainer behind her back, Jamie showed inappropriate videos of his wife on set, and various other issues while on set. Now, Blake's husband Ryan Reynolds was present at these meetings to back her up, as Blake claimed she made a list of demands she wanted Justin and Jamie to meet before she resumed filming, which claimed that Justin should not make inquiries about her weight and make no further mention of her father, who had passed. Now, in the lawsuit, Blake claims that Justin hired a crisis PR team to smear her in retaliation for her raising the issues. And it honestly appears that way, to be honest, and more proof of that came true as on December 22nd, the New York Times released an article about all of this. Private messages obtained by the New York Times appear to show intentional attempt to bury Blake. "You know, we can bury anyone," Justin's PR Nathan is alleged to have said, per the New York Times. Justin is said to have sent examples of a viral social media thread accusing another celebrity of bullying, writing, "This is what we would need," the Times alleged. Miss Nathan soon floated proposals to hire contractors to dominate social media through full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and generally working to change the narrative. "All of this will most importantly be untraceable," she wrote. But Justin's lawyer said that he had hired a crisis manager due to multiple demands and threats he alleged Blake made, including threatening to not show up on set, threatening to not promote the film, ultimately leading to the demise during release if her demands were not met. Now, the same day this article came out, Justin was dropped by his talent agency, and many celebrities were speaking out in support of Blake. Colleen Hoover, who refused to do press with Baldoni, posted to Instagram after Blake first made her allegations to call her nothing but honest, kind, supportive, and patient. America Ferrera, Alexis Bledel, and Amber Tamblyn, who starred alongside Blake in her 2005 breakout role in The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, slammed the vindictive effort and sued to discredit her voice, and Amber Heard said she had seen similar social media campaigns firsthand and up close, calling it horrifying and destructive. Actresses Kate Beckinsale and Abigail Breslin shared their own stories of harassment and retaliation in the wake of Blake's lawsuit, and director Paul Feig posted that Blake did not deserve any of the smear campaign. Another one of Blake's It Ends With Us co-stars, Brandon Slynar, posted a link to the initial New York Times story, and Jenny Slate, another co-star in the film, said she stands by her loyal friend. Amy Schumer posted a story on Instagram that said, "I believe Blake," and Sony Pictures, the distributor of the movie, also showed support for the actress. "We have previously expressed our support for Blake in connection with her work on the film. We fully and firmly reiterate that support today. Further, we strongly condemn any reputational attacks on her. Any such attacks have no place in our business or in civil society," it said. But then, Justin sued the New York Times for $250 million and claimed that Ryan Reynolds aggressively berated him. Justin and 9 other plaintiffs, including publicists Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Bell, brought a $250 million lawsuit against the newspaper alleging libel and false light invasion of privacy. Now, the suit, which has been seen by The Independent, was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court and claims that the Times reporting cherry-picked and altered communications, stripped of necessary context, and deliberately spliced to mislead. Now, in the lawsuit, Justin and Jamie accused the New York Times of publishing a one-sided article based on Blake's complaint with the California Civil Rights Department. The suit alleged that the Times relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, lifting it nearly verbatim while disregarding an abundance of evidence that contradicted her claims and exposed her true motives. But the Times did not care. Now, a spokesperson for the New York Times said, "Our story was meticulously and responsibly reported," and they said that the outlet had reviewed thousands of pages of original documents, including the text messages and emails that we quote accurately and at length in the article. Now, the lawsuit said the plaintiffs suffered damages that amount to at least $250 million. Now, specific lies have also been called out by Justin's team. Blake claimed that Justin invited her privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. But Justin's legal team refuted the claim, referring to alleged texts by Blake that read, "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work on our lines," to which the actor responded, "Copy, eating with the crew and we'll head that way." Now, it seems like Justin's team is trying to expose Blake for lying and are showing the proof that they have.
Oprah might be determined to get the nitty-gritty truth out of everybody she talks to, but she might want to look into the mirror after all the lies she's told over the years. Rose McGowan called Oprah Winfrey as fake as they come in a scathing Twitter post over her friendship with scummy producers who I can't even name, they're that awful. We can't even show their face, so you're going to have to use context clues today, folks, if you don't already know the identity of the mystery producer that I'm currently trying to talk about without talking about. So Rose McGowan took to Twitter to speak out against the popular talk show host, sharing a photo of Oprah Winfrey kissing a disgraced Hollywood producer on the cheek, which I think was a photo taken at the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, so it's about 10 years old. Now, Rose McGowan is an early Me Too activist who accused that particular producer of wrongdoing, and she accompanied the photo with a caption reading, "I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't. From being pals with," insert anonymous producer's name here, "to abandoning and destroying victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come. Hashtag lizard." Now, the victims Rose was referring to are those of a hip-hop music mogul, but one who has been accused of more than a dozen cases of SA or misconduct since November of 2017. Now, he responded by admitting inappropriate conduct in some cases, but has disputed the allegations of non-consensual SA-related interactions. The legend of Oprah Winfrey as an extremely poor person growing up without a father, a mother that was too young, who apparently according to claims, carried Oprah with shame during pregnancy and then neglected her, spread when Oprah began giving interviews in Chicago. She would say, "Oh, they harmed me. I wanted to be white because I never saw white people being hurt." She remembered her early years in life as lonely. She didn't play with anybody except the pigs she rode without a saddle in her grandmother's garden. She said the only thing I could talk to were the animals in the farmyard. I read them Bible stories. And she said that she was so poor that her family couldn't afford a dog or a cat. She had 2 cockroaches as pets. She put them in a jar and named them Melinda and Sandy. She entertained her audience with stories about fetching water from the well, milking cows, emptying the drinking pot. This tale she spun, this horrible, horrible life. She told stories about her grandmother who swung a switch, her grandfather who swung a stick. Now these were the people who raised her for the formative years of life. She said, "Oh, how they harmed me. Once again, I wanted to be white because I never saw white people being harmed." She said her grandmother did this because it's an integral part of Southern tradition. This is the way old folks raised their family. You spill something, you meet the switch. You tell a story, you meet the switch. She said grandma could do this all day and never get tired. Now, not everybody in Oprah's family agreed with this desperate upbringing. Her mother, Vernita Lee, when asked about her daughter's abilities to self-dramatize her stories, said Oprah is a bit of a cold smoker. Now, Oprah's sister also dispelled the myth of immense poverty. She said, "Of course we weren't rich, but Oprah exaggerated how bad it was for us. I guess the viewers would love her, the audience would grow. Cockroaches were never her pet. She always had a dog. She had a white cat. She had an eel in a tank. She had a parakeet named Bo Peep. She was trying to teach the parakeet how to speak." She said, "Where Oprah got that nonsense about growing up in filth and roaches, I have no idea." Now, that was a statement from her cousin, Catherine. She said, "I confronted her and asked, why do you tell such lies?" Oprah said, "That's what people want to hear. The truth is boring." Well, Oprah, I would like to hear some form of truth out of your mouth. So for many years on air, Oprah was portrayed as this wholesome person. She was like, "You get a gift, you get a gift, you get a car, you get a this, that, everything else." Turns out her stepmom has said otherwise for many, many years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you will ever meet. So when Barbara and family wanted to visit Oprah, Oprah was like, "No, you can't stay at my home. You gotta pay for your own hotel room. I'll come visit you maybe." Apparently Oprah was quick to anger when it came to her staff, with a lot of folks being fired left, right, everywhere all over the years. But here's the thing. So you know how I mentioned how Barbara's like, "Nope, no family can stay with me," even though Oprah's like a billionaire and owns ranches and this, that, and everything else? Well, I guess when Oprah goes to visit Barbara, which never really happens, but it does, she stays at Barbara's place, and when she stays over, she complains. She's like, "My bed sheets aren't 1,000 thread count, bath towels aren't big enough." Like, lady, you're a multi-billionaire. Why do you want to make your family feel like a burden? If you really care that much about things, go stay in some fancy schmancy hotel yourself. So Oprah's been called out for using weight loss medication, despite being like the longtime poster woman for Weight Watchers. Seriously. The branding is there. Now, she has confirmed she's now using this unnamed substance to help her control her weight. In a very revealing chat, she said "Yeah, no, my new slim figure is thanks to this, and of course a healthier lifestyle overall." Kind of like how when superhero actors say, "Oh yeah, my lifestyle is because of broccoli and chicken." She's like, "Yeah, I now use it as I feel I need it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing." She said the fact that there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight and staying healthier in my lifetime feels like relief, like redemption, like a gift, not something to hide behind and be ridiculed for. She said, "I'm absolutely done with the shaming from other people and particularly myself." But here's the thing. There's a number of fans, myself included, that feel like the billionaire philanthropist is being a bit hypocritical. Once again, she has been a proud spokesperson for Weight Watchers since 2017, and I feel like even before that she was praising Weight Watchers on her show. So a lot of fans have spoken out, and one person said, "What I don't like about Oprah is she is clearly off doing Ozempic, but yet she's still pushing Weight Watchers." And somebody else was like, "Okay, done with shaming, but okay with lying?" And a lot of folks called her out for letting people believe she did it the old-fashioned way, asking, "Why did you lie?" Back in 2012, Oprah gushed for weeks about Microsoft's Surface tablet. She compared it to a Mercedes. She called it one of her favorite things of 2012. One day she went a step further. She tweeted out to her 14.8 million followers saying, "Love that Surface." She said she'd already bought 12 of them for Christmas presents. One teeny little problem. Oprah, or whoever managed her Twitter at the time, sent the tweets from an iPad, because it literally said sent from my iPad or whatever. And the people of the internet, who never missed the opportunity to poke fun at an online little flub, took notice. To quote one expert, she does have legions of fans, making her an effective marketing channel for Microsoft, except for when the narrative around her promotion is tossed on its head by a foolish and utterly avoidable mistake. Surface ads, now brought to you by iPad. Come on, it's such a silly little mistake. Back in 2010, Monique won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for her performance in Precious, and sure, amazing, notable, love that. That's not our point today. After that, she was blackballed in the entertainment industry for almost a decade, if not more, at the hands of media moguls such as Oprah. And Oprah, was really shady about it. She's the same talk show host who had an interview with Monique's family just days after her big career accomplishment. Now, for most people that sounds like a great thing. Like, oh my gosh, yes, you won, let's get your family on to gush about you. But here's the little snafu in that logic, folks. Oprah sat down with Monique's older brother, Gerald, who harmed Monique while they were growing up. This was the first time he had admitted to his crimes. He confessed to being a victim of the same actions by other family members. And somebody said this online, and it's best said this way: Oprah needs to answer for this, because interviewing Monique's brother after her historic Oscar win, this doesn't make sense, and it looks bad for Oprah. Why would you want to do something so negative when you're celebrating something so amazing? Somebody else noted, Oprah definitely seems like she has a mean, cold side. I just wonder why she was so mean to Monique. And Monique said it herself. Oprah crossed her on so many different levels. She tried to reach out to Oprah to settle this, discuss it, but the efforts to communicate just weren't being returned. So, 3 years after that interview, Monique confronted Oprah at a celebration party for Lupita Nyong'o. And she said, and I quote, "Oprah was sitting on my right. I turned to her and said, I need to talk to you." And apparently, this whole room went so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Monique said, "Since you didn't want to return my calls, for whatever reasons, I'm going to say this right here." And she asked, "Oprah, why did you invite my family on the show when we literally were not talking at the time?" And Oprah tried to play it off. She was like, "Oh, I had no idea your entire family was showing up." She's like, "I didn't know anything about that. If I did anything to offend you, I apologize." I'm sorry. You're telling me this multi-billionaire didn't know something was gonna happen on her show? Sure.
Did Beyonce fake her pregnancy? When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, so many rumors began spreading that she faked her pregnancy with a fake belly and had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A particular video, however, went insanely viral, literally overnight. A video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australia's Sunday Night HD surfaced online. This interview would have been, on record as the most boring interview of all time, had it not been for the one moment at the start of the sit down when Beyonce took a seat and her bump, did something entirely different and kind of unnatural. So to explain, when she sits down, you can see her stomach deflating and folding in on itself. The stills and slow-mos of the disappearing bump were circulated online as people questioned, what was happening? Now, was Beyonce wearing, different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay-Z, gone the surrogate route and her, deflating baby bump proved it? Or was it something else entirely that can or can't be so easily explained? Beyonce's publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, was quick with it. She shot down the conspiracy theories almost immediately, telling E! News that, websites, blogs, and rumors suggesting that Jay-Z's wife is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are simply foolish and outlandish. Beyonce addressed it literally only once, saying that was crazy. It wasn't even hurtful, it was just crazy. Where do they come up with this stuff? Meanwhile, her mother, Tina Knowles, took the talk very personally. She went on to say, "I thought it was very unfair and very cruel that someone would think that someone would be that diabolical to keep up a charade like that for 9 months. As a mother, it was painful for me to hear the crazy rumors, and I even had people ask me, which was so ridiculous. The only thing they could say about why it looked like her belly folded is that it must have been the fabric." One critic online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy, and that the only footage of her actually being pregnant was super grainy and not clear at all. Some fans, came to her defense saying that there was a pic of her on the beach, in a bikini, but honestly, the photo of her in the bikini, if she was pregnant, looked like she would have been about 4 months or less. So basically, people were saying, the photo doesn't actually prove that she was actually pregnant. There were just so many conspiracy theories regarding why she might be lying. Many people thought she didn't want to ruin her figure, by being pregnant. Some people suspected maybe she couldn't have children of her own, and some thought, her and Jay were maybe adopting. However, none of this truly mattered when her daughter was actually brought into the world. Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7th, 2012. Her and Jay actually reportedly bought out the whole floor at the hospital in order to have privacy. even making people who, were already there leave. But that's another story for another time. All in all, this whole circus made Beyonce a lot more open with her second pregnancy when she had twins Rumi and Sir. Personally, I think she didn't want the same, accusations and theories to surface again, so she kind of just said, y'all ain't playing with me today. You want a bump? Here it is. Is Beyonce lying about her age? There have been several moments that have made people question whether or not Beyonce is lying about her age. Matthew Knowles, her father, continues to use his daughter's name as a means, to staying newsworthy. This time though, it's adding fuel to the fire or to the rumor mill that the superstar is actually lying about her age. In an interview with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club, Knowles, her father, says that Pink, the singer, is the exact same age as Beyonce. Pink, however, is 45 and Beyonce is, according to her, 43. Beyonce's age has been, a source of speculation for years, complete with alleged birth certificate leaks and, celebrity sources. Gabrielle Union, who is 9 years older than Beyonce, has said they were friends when they were teenagers, and apparently they even went to high school together, but the math ain't mathing there. While the difference between Pink and Beyonce are only like a measly 2 years, by the time you're like closing down on 50, those years, apparently seem to matter. So, fudging the numbers early on makes it a little easier to simply stop at 43 and refuse to age any further. It's as if, as a performer, you were to reach 50, you'd stop being considered for parts or shows, which, let's be honest, that isn't actually true in today's day and age, because just look at Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's in her 50s, she's still performing, headlining, you know what I mean? Or the other worry I would imagine most women up in age would be concerned about would be whether you'd be vilified for like gallivanting in a leotard or like a bodysuit, like a one piece, whatever scandalous type of outfit you might have worn in your 20s. Basically, for being confident about your body. Taylor Swift does it, it's, girl power, but if Madonna does it, it's like supposed to be shameful, So at least that's how society wants us all to view it. Beyonce has lied many times about writing her own music. Beyonce has claimed to be, the creative vision and songwriter behind some of her most successful songs, and there was no room for argument, that she was one of the most talented singer-songwriters to be a part of the music industry, and still is. But when rumors began to swirl that there were holes in the stories Beyonce told about writing her music, fans were shocked. They wondered if Beyonce truly did write all the songs she claimed to, or if she was fabricating. Now, there have been several times when songwriters or celebrities have had negative things to say and called Beyonce out in the press for taking credit for being the creative force behind her songs that have become hits. This is not to say, that the Run the World singer does not put her own spin vocally on tracks to take them places other artists could not, all while having an insane work ethic, but taking full credit for something that there was clearly a collaboration on led fans to do some digging. And when they did, they found several times when Beyonce claimed to be the sole writer or had the inspiration for a song, when that was clearly false. One person on Reddit actually rounded up like a number of examples, which include Emotions, which is actually a Bee Gees cover, Survivor, with the actual songwriter sued and settled out of court, Bow Down, which was allegedly written for Rihanna, Bootylicious, the demo was apparently near complete when, it got to Destiny's Child, and one of Beyonce's biggest songs, Irreplaceable, which apparently was actually written by Neo. Now, what's funny about that one is that Beyonce went on to say, I'm sure people think I wrote it about Jay-Z or something, but the obvious person is not the person at all. Several years later, though, Neo claimed to have penned the song himself. Had he not thought the song was too misogynistic, he explained he would have actually kept it for himself. He said, that song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little mean. So, with many discrepancies coming up in interviews over the years when Beyonce has claimed to be the driving force behind many of her hits, it is easy to see why fans wonder how much Beyonce has written herself, what she has collaborated on, and what songs were just written for her. There's no denying the talent Beyonce has, and no one is discrediting, her vocal and performance abilities, but many fans and critics alike think that she should give all the credit, not just to herself. In fact, it's just a song that maybe she's collabed on, with one person, online even saying, unless Beyonce specifically came up with an idea for a song or contributed vocals to it, she should call herself an artist instead. Another person chimed in and said, for some reason we have this idea that singers have to also write their own music to be considered artists, but telling a story with your voice and entertaining people with your performance is a whole other skill set. I think at the end of the day, just give credit where it's due to avoid these type of, controversies, or stay as low-key as possible and don't extend your part.
Are J-Lo and Ben Affleck really over? Some new snaps of the couple have emerged that are throwing everyone
off. Was their recent meetup just a simple New Year's exchange or something more? The Daily Mail reports that the Jenny from the Block singer and Air director met up January 5th, aka Golden Globes Day, at Affleck's home. From photos acquired from the meetup, it seems the pair seemed to be on good terms. It appears that J-Lo even gave Ben's son a big hug. Despite the sweet meetup, that doesn't mean the couple is getting back together anytime soon. In fact, the opposite might be true. It's known now that the two megastars are getting a divorce, but the process is taking a step forward into settlement territory. J-Lo is also apparently looking to drop the Affleck from her last name. Just because J-Lo is leaving the Affleck surname behind doesn't mean she's dropping the whole family. A source claiming to be close to the couple says that the pair decided to remain in each other's lives even though they aren't romantically involved anymore. J-Lo was a parent to Affleck's children and vice versa while they were married, and that is not something that you can just erase. The source said the pair are agreeing to communicate when it involves the kids, and that's already happening, it seems. At the Sunday meetup, J-Lo's child seems to have been exiting Ben's house carrying a large gift in their hands. Affleck walked behind them. As previously stated, J-Lo embraced Affleck's son, a sweet interaction all around. The source shared that though the pair aren't necessarily looking to co-parent or have that type of relationship, they are still close to each other's families and feel as though they have a blended family in a lot of ways. Affleck and Lopez, along with Affleck's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, were all spotted in the same place just before last year ended. Their kids attend school together and were in a play. Makes sense considering who their parents are. Photos of the famous celebs from the event show nothing but proud parents and happy vibes all around. It's unclear how involved the adults will be as the divorce moves forward, especially with an official settlement apparently being reached. People were shocked to learn though that J-Lo and Affleck did not sign a prenup before marrying, especially since they both do so much and then make so much from what they do. It was shocking that they would risk splitting everything 50-50. TMZ has broken the news that the pair have allegedly come to an agreement though. TMZ reported some of what was presumably on the table through what each party is apparently set to keep. Affleck's stake in Artist Equity, the production company that he and BFF Matt Damon created in 2022, about 4 months after Affleck married J-Lo, that is sticking with its founder. The company has had a successful run so far with films like Air and Unstoppable, the latter actually featuring J-Lo, which, speaking of, J-Lo has a number of individual success stories from the marriage, like her romantic comedy, Marry Me, which I actually saw in theaters, had a great time, her self-produced musical album movie and documentary about said movie, plus a few other film endeavors that she is keeping. It all boils down to the easy idea that whatever the person earned, they get to keep. But there is one thing that they did share, and that was their house. Now, I wasn't in the room with their lawyers, and all the details are confidential, so I have no idea exactly how they're dividing up that $61 million mansion, but TMZ claims that an agreement has been reached, so there is that. As of right now, the house is still on the market, so we will have to wait and see exactly how it all proceeds. Apparently, the whole situation was mediated by Laura Wasser, and she clearly did a great job. As it stands, neither party is due to pay spousal support to the other. But is an amicable agreement really that shocking? From photos and clips of their recent meetups, it's clear the former couple are still very civil with each other, some might even say friendly. It's clear there's still affection there. Plus, they both had successful years well together. Why not just let the other person keep what they made? Allegedly, they even met up at the tail end of last year to exchange holiday gifts. The divorce was filed back in August, and it appears everything is almost in order, and now they're just waiting for the official finalization date of February 20th, roughly 6 months after everything first started. The source close to the couple shared that due to their history, Affleck and Lopez will always have a mutual respect for one another. New footage has dropped of J-Lo that has people whispering that Jenny from the Block has made a deal with the devil. I know that is probably not what you were expecting to hear next, but here we are. The clips emerged around November of last year, right in the middle of the whole divorce with Ben Affleck situation. You know, going through a divorce is known to be a difficult thing, but take one look at J-Lo and you would never guess. Seriously, the woman is glowing and looks stunning in literally every red carpet appearance, every paparazzi picture, and every selfie. Of course, that leaves people to draw one conclusion as to how the artist is getting this stunning image. Spoiler, it's not financial security or a dedicated support team, but that she must have made a deal with the devil. Celebrities being accused of demon dealing, is that that new? No, unfortunately not. Conspiracies rule the internet. But at least this time, the viral tweet first making the demonic claim appears to at least be a joke. JLo appeared at the LA premiere of Wicked in a glittering gown. She looked incredible. Popular Twitter celebrity updates account, PopBase, shared a clip of JLo posing on the red carpet. The tweet was viewed millions of times and had thousands of engagements, but one stood out from the rest. A quote tweet that read, "She traded her vocals for eternal beauty and hasn't looked bad a day since." Now listen, the context to this tweet is people like to be mean to JLo on the internet after they found out that many of her tracks feature vocals from other performers that JLo either claims to be her own or she just doesn't clarify that the main voice isn't her. Then there was also the cancelled tour and a series of memes spawned from her This Is Me Now situation documentary, especially since so many celebrities turned down appearing in them, and some that did appear in the movies seemed more confused than anything else. And then there was the whole misunderstanding where it looked like JLo had asked longtime friend Derek Huff to move his wedding around to accommodate her movie. Point is, there is a lot that has happened regarding the singer over the past few years, and roasting JLo just seems to be an internet pastime right now. But there is one thing that the people cannot touch, and that is her look. JLo truly always looks good. A positive, ongoing comment about JLo is that you will never catch her looking ugly or broke, and that has been proven true time and time again. Even when there is so much seemingly going on with the star personally, she's always glowing. So it must be a deal with the devil. Of course, what's the real secret to JLo looking 10 out of 10 all the time? What is she hiding? It's clear the star is naturally beautiful, but that is enhanced by a glam squad and, as many people speculate, cosmetic procedures. JLo has said publicly that she prefers to age naturally and isn't one to run and get a lot of work done, but not everyone believes her. Some have accused the performer of getting major surgeries. One person even accused her of using her family's genes to get a vampire facial, seemingly implying her eternal youth comes at the expense of her own youths, which that is definitely a sentence someone has typed about her. I almost missed the initial devil accusation. Generally, people seem to believe, including some aesthetic doctors, that if JLo has had work done, it is often subtle and expertly performed so that she never has a jarring transformation, so stuff like Botox or fillers. The most common major procedure people believe to have happened to the star is a nose job. Apparently her nose was originally slightly wider when she started out her career. Now there is technically some truth behind that rumor. JLo confirmed getting a nose job when she was younger, but that was more medical than anything else to fix a deviated septum. Is JLo hiding other cosmetic procedures? Well, that is unclear, as is her involvement with the leader of the underworld. But if I had to hazard a guess, I think that JLo's youthful glow can be attributed to confidence, well-placed cosmetics, lighting, and maybe a cute Instagram filter every once in a while.
So amid Jada's attempts to promote her recent memoir, she appeared in the headlines after claiming that the late hip-hop icon Tupac proposed to her while he was imprisoned at Rikers in 1995. However, a now viral TikTok video and his pals quickly shut down that whole batch of lies. So TikTok user Jessa Miami presented the timeline in a clip saying, "Her math ain't mathin'," and if you're unfamiliar with the phrase, it means that things aren't adding up or making sense. She started by mentioning the conviction in 1995 and sentencing after he was found guilty of harming Ayanna Jackson. He received a 1.5 to 4.5 years prison sentence, but he only served 9 months after Death Row Records mogul Suge Knight bailed him out. The All Eyes on Me rapper was dating Keisha Morris at the time as the alleged marriage proposal, raising more questions. She said, Tupac already had a girlfriend. He proposed to Keisha, and she said this in a September 2011 interview. And he proposed before he even went into prison, and they were already engaged. They got married in April. Jada's lying, and I have the timeline to prove it, Jess said in the clip. I can't handle these effing lies anymore. She expressed her disbelief as Jada's story suggested that Tupac proposed to her even when he was already engaged to another woman. In addition, she had already met Will Smith months before this alleged proposal and began dating him after his divorce from Cherie. So Jada made quite the headline last year when she appeared on the Today Show to promote said biography. This big reveal, the sensational headline that's meant to give her the big spotlight moment, was this. She and Will Smith, who have aggressively marketed themselves as a marriage success story, have actually been separated for the last 7 years. Or, I think. She was asked. It was a divorce on paper, but was it a divorce? And Jada said oh no, it's a divorce. So why not just announce it? Why keep up this 7-year-long charade? And Jada was like, well, I think not being ready yet. Even though she's had 7 years to get used to being ready. She's like, we're still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership. Okay, but isn't the point of divorce to no longer be in partnership? Like, sorry, Jada, can you just make sense, please? These are the questions any serious interviewer should be asking. But instead, everybody else and all the outlets were like, okay, yep, you do you, sure, let's just print it. When you have multiple podcast stories diving into this amazing love story, like aggressively marketing this love story on the red carpet, and you've got Will Smith implying in his own memoir that they had weathered tough times, but they're still together. You've got him slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars to defend his wife's honor. And all that quote-unquote authenticity was just to obscure the bottom line. They weren't together. Now, well, Jada might have hoped her candid confession about the state of her marriage would help, sell copies of this biography, titled Worthy, by the way. Reputation expert Eric Schiffer claims she's probably going to end up paying a hefty price for the shock revelations. Jada and Will's trust and reputation with the public was kind of hit hard by revealing that they were separated for this long. The two hid it from the public, appearing together to serve their self-absorbed, out-of-touch celebrity elite agenda. Now Eric, who serves as the chairman of Reputation Management Consultants, added the duo were deluded and failed to see that audiences today are easily disgusted by celebrity phoniness. Folks are now going to question and be slow to trust many of the stories in Jada's book. Somebody needs to take pictures of copies of the book in the science fiction section, or just the fiction section, please, for a joke. August Alsina first spoke about his entanglement with Jada in his interview with The Breakfast Club's Angela Yee, and revealed that oh no, we're good, Will gave us his blessing. Well, in a June 30th of 2022 statement to Page 6, Jada's representative said it was absolutely not true. So 1 month later, on her podcast, The Red Table Talk, yes, she revealed that she had an entanglement with a Make It Home rapper. She said, through that particular journey, I've learned so much about myself and was able to confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some deep healing. She said about the entanglement. She also clarified that no, I'm not in an open marriage, as been speculated at the time. Instead, she said, Will and I briefly broke up. There's some marital struggles. Yeah, well, we know otherwise now. Tensions were incredibly high during the deeply emotional conversation, but when they wrapped up the episode, everybody was like, oh, all the drama's in the past. In an exclusive interview with People, Jada claimed that once upon a time, Chris Rock asked her out on a date when reports about her and Will allegedly divorcing emerged. She said oh, and this particular summer, Chris, he thought that we were getting a divorce. So he called me and basically he was like, I would love to take you out. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, aren't you and Will just getting a divorce? And she's like, no, Chris, those are just rumors. Now, while the What to Expect When You're Expecting star has yet to respond directly to the claim, a source told the Daily Mail that Chris Rock was frustrated hearing the story make it to the news. People may have started to move on, but now it's back in the limelight, and it's just frustrating that everything's coming back to the forefront. They added that Chris wanted Jada to keep his name out of her mouth. Sorry, dude, turns out he was right. They were split up. They just didn't want to go public about it. They really kept up that whole damn rigmarole. So, there was once a time when Jada Pinkett Smith, one half of a Hollywood golden couple, actually made movies. But since she launched this podcast back in 2018, Jada's only really been talking about one specific thing: personal disclosures and her marriage and her naughty life. You know what I mean? Coitus. She's made her life a quote-unquote open book, but apparently now that's a work of fiction. So after 5 years of running a liquidation sale on her marital secrets and innermost thoughts, what's actually left to fill a book? Well, no worries, folks. She had that ace in her pocket. Once again, she used that book to announce the divorce, or quiet separation. Yes, they still act like a couple in public, so I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Not a divorce on paper, but it was a divorce. Now, don't get me wrong, there are divorced couples that do have a healthy relationship for their offspring, but this is more than that. In her 2015 interview on The Howard Stern Show, Jada said she would have lost her Matrix role long before she started filming if she was 100% truthful about her pregnancy. At the time, she hid the fact that she was carrying her daughter Willow. She didn't get the role of Trinity, but they kept her in mind. And they wrote this part for her, she mentioned. And I'll never forget when they called me and they were like, Jada, we have this role for you, but you're pregnant. Well, she told the crew that Willow would be out in October, even though her expected delivery was in the beginning of November. Well, luckily for everybody, Willow Smith was born on Halloween night of the year 2000, and Jada shared that she got in the gym, she got it together, she was super excited to be part of the franchise, but oof, that could not be healthy. Leah Remini told the Daily Beast in 2017 that Jada was a member of Scientology, but Jada denied this claim in a tweet. She's like, I have studied Dianetics, which that's the Scientology thing, and I appreciate the merits of study tech, but I am not a Scientologist. Okay, well, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. 2 years later, Scientologist Sam Domingo disclosed to the Daily Mail that she had encountered Jada at the Church of Scientology Celebrity Center, which is in LA. Seeing as apparently Jada was a top recruiter for the organization. Once again, she hasn't come out and said more, but like, Dianetics. Girl, no. So for many years, Jada has painted herself as the perfect parent for her children. Fans supported her when she said her and Will's ultimate goal was to prepare them for the world. She's like, I don't want to make decisions for you. I want to prepare you as much as I can, as quickly as possible, and give you, well, as much power over your life as quickly as I can. Here's the thing. Both Jaden Smith and Willow Smith have repeatedly shared struggles of having Will and Jada as their parents, saying that the spotlight made them feel terrible. And despite the contradicting experiences, yes, they did eventually express their gratitude to have their parents as their parents. Jada decided to hash up once again the 2022 Oscar slap heard around the world, and she insisted she didn't cause it. However, a lot of viewers accused her of triggering Will to do it by rolling her eyes at Chris Rock's joke about her. And a viral TikTok video supported the claim by showing the angle that captured Jada tilting forward and laughing after the slap. Another video captured Will laughing at Chris's joke, but then he immediately walked up to the stage after seeing Jada roll her eyes and show a displeased reaction. So, where's the truth here? And finally for today, a lot of folks have spotted signs that Jada might have fibbed about her struggles with alopecia. So Jada opened up about it in an early episode of the podcast, sharing that she felt terrified when she noticed her hair started falling out. She's like, it was terrifying when it first started. I was in the shower one day and then just handfuls of hair in my hands and I was like, oh my god, am I going bald? But fans, theorists, and experts have given their 2 cents over the years and stories aren't adding up. Dr. Gary Linkoff, a double board certified medic by the American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery and the American Board of Head and Neck Surgery, who also suffers from alopecia, explained that she might have mistaken or exaggerated the damage caused by the illness. Now, according to this medical expert who did not treat the actress, the alopecia Jada described on the top of her head looks like a scar that she gained from like a facelift. So in his opinion, Jada's only bald because of some degree of traction alopecia, which is caused by her extreme hairstyles and yeah. So what do you think, folks?
Starting off, we have to talk about his current relationship with his daughter, Suri Cruz, who is now 18. It's been reported that Tom hasn't seen her in a very long time and is not a part of her life. But what really happened between them and why is their relationship such a well-kept secret? Well, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes welcomed Suri in 2006, and from all appearances, they had a solid parent-child relationship up until 2012. After Tom and Katie's divorce, he completely distanced himself from Katie and Suri and went no contact. Now, during his 2012 deposition lawsuit against Bauer Media, he revealed that his commitment to Scientology was the biggest factor in the breakup of his family. When lawyers asked whether Katie had divorced him over his ties to the church, he said that was one of the assertions, yes. He also admitted that he didn't have any contact with Suri for 3 months right after the divorce. Surprisingly to many, Tom was not awarded custody of Suri at all and instead walked away from the discussions with visitation rights only. Even though the custody agreement struck between makes it clear that he can see his daughter for 10 days a month, it seems like he hasn't been able to make that happen. Now on top of that, a source close to the situation has said that it seems to be a deliberate choice he is making. Now that brings us to the truth about his divorce from Katie Holmes. Back in 2012, the former Hollywood power couple announced to the world that they were getting divorced after 6 years of marriage. While this was shocking, Tom eventually confirmed what everyone had suspected about him. The major reason for their split was Katie's aversion to raising Suri as a Scientologist. In a 2013 deposition, the actor admitted that Suri, who was just 7 years old at the time, was no longer a practicing member of the church. And when it comes to their beliefs, people who leave the religion are often cut off from other practicing members. And because of Tom's position as a high-ranking member, it would be practically impossible for him to keep his daughter in his life. In 2013, he spoke about the situation candidly with lawyers, saying, "Listen, when there is a divorce, things change. It's not an ideal scene, it's not an ideal situation." He admitted that he didn't see the divorce coming at all, saying, "I didn't expect it. Life is a tragic comedy. You need to have a sense of humor." But he actually bounced back pretty quickly, and they reached a settlement deal after only 11 days. Next up, we have his broken family with Nicole Kidman. While Tom and Nicole were married, they adopted 2 children, Isabella and Connor, and when they split, Tom did his best to convince them to cut their mother out of their lives. That's the shocking allegation that Sam Domingo made in 2019, claiming that Tom made the decision to disconnect from Nicole and have his children disconnect as well, claiming that Isabella and Connor weren't given a choice about it and were totally brainwashed. So, what are his grown-up kids doing now? Well, in 2018, Katrina Reyes claimed that Connor was living in a church-owned hotel under constant surveillance. She said they'll have him on a course and do some auditing, he can't go out and party and drink, and he'll be on vitamins and juices. As for Isabella, the underground bunker uncovered in 2019 that she starred in a promotional video encouraging members to intern as auditors at the church's London branch. She said, "I became the annoying girl in the org who would just talk endlessly about how incredible training is and how phenomenal the internship is. Thank you to my dad for everything." So clearly both of them are still close with Tom but have completely disconnected from Nicole. Now you might be wondering, how does Hollywood really feel about Tom Cruise? Well, that brings us to our next point, as he was exposed for secretly trying to convert other celebrities. Devoting your life to a faith is one thing, but trying to coerce other A-list celebs into doing the same thing sounds a lot like trouble. When Seth Rogen went on Howard Stern, he talked about spending the day with Tom Cruise and director Judd Apatow. Now Seth was telling jokes and said, "I think the pharmaceutical industry is making me look bad," to which Tom responded, "It's like with Scientology, if you let me just tell you what it is really about, just give me like 20 minutes to really tell you what it's about, you would say no effing way, no effing way." Now Seth said that this made him feel really uncomfortable, as it seemed like Tom was constantly trying to steer the conversation towards his religion at every chance he got. Luckily Judd was there at the time and said, "I feel like we're good, let's just talk about movies and stuff." Now at that point, Seth told Howard that he was extremely relieved, because if he was there alone with Tom, the situation may have panned out differently. Now all this makes you wonder about his behavior behind closed doors, which is what Leah Remini exposed in her memoir, Troublemaker. On one occasion, Leah claimed that Tom shouted at his assistants because he wanted to make cookies, but he couldn't find the pre-packaged cookie dough. In the book, she claimed that he said, "Guys, where's the cookie stuff? God damn it. Can I just get the stuff for the cookies, guys? Get in the effing present time. It's what you need to do." Now to her, Tom seemed like a child who had never been told no, and that he screamed at his assistant. Now in her book, Leah also made some shocking allegations about several well-known Hollywood celebrities. In fact, she recalled a time that she and her husband, Angelo, spent time at Tom's Beverly Hills mansion, where he invited a group of well-known Scientologists and other celebrities, including Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. He announced to all guests that he wanted to play hide and seek and pressured everyone to join in. And when Top Gun Maverick came out, Leah cautioned fans about supporting him, saying that, "Don't let the movie star charm fool you, and no, I will not watch the movie, nor will I ever support or approve this scam of a man." So she's clearly not one to forgive or forget. Now speaking of outbursts, did you know that Tom was also caught yelling at crew members? In December 2020, The Sun published leak audio of him yelling at his Mission Impossible 7 staffers after social distancing rules were broken on set. Tom reportedly flew into a rage after spotting 2 of his crew members standing within 2 meters of each other. He shouted, "And if you don't do it, you're fired. I see you do it again, you're effing gone. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their effing homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education." The outburst led 5 crew members to quit on the spot, as they just didn't feel like putting up with any more of his verbal attacks. Now fans and celebrities were divided in response to this news, but things got awkward when TMZ revealed that Tom himself was not even following the CDC guidelines. As it turns out, the valve mask that he was wearing on set was not effective because it allows potentially infected droplets to leave the mask. Next up, we have the Matt Lauer interview. Tom's arrogance was stifling when he got into a heated argument with Matt Lauer about prescription drugs and about the practice of psychiatry, which he called a pseudoscience. Tom's infamous 2005 interview on the Today Show was so bad that it changed the way that he was perceived, and he proceeded to tell Matt there is no such thing as having a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that the only way to cure depression was vitamins and exercise. Now, his appearance on the show came shortly after he publicly shamed Brooke Shields for her moment of vulnerability when she announced that she used antidepressants to help her with her postpartum depression. To which Tom said, "When someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope, it didn't cure anything. There is no science, there's nothing that can cure them whatsoever." He added that Brooke Shields is a very talented woman, but looking at where her career has gone. Now, that last insult was so unnecessary, but it does tell you a lot about his personality. Next, we have the airplane incident. During an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in 1999, Tom could not stop laughing as he told a story of how he restricted oxygen for a passenger when flying to Colorado. According to the actor, he and his co-pilot as well as one other passenger were using oxygen masks because they were flying at high altitudes. But Tom said he soon realized that they did not have enough oxygen to stay alert at that altitude, so he and the co-pilot decided to turn off the oxygen mask for the other passenger so that they could continue their journey, and eventually the person passed out due to the lack of oxygen. At this point in the story, Tom burst out laughing while David Letterman just looked uncomfortable. He said, "Looking at it from another direction, isn't that attempted manslaughter? You just turned a guy's oxygen off. You're lucky you're not doing time, for the love of God." But Tom insisted that everything turned out fine and the passenger was okay, but the whole thing just made him look and sound completely psychotic. Now let's talk about the infamous couch jump. The couch jump on the Oprah Winfrey Show in May 2005 is one of the most memorable moments in Tom's career. The actor was talking to Oprah about his new relationship with Katie Holmes, whom he eventually married a year later. But his excitement went a little too far as he started getting up and doing victory poses. At one point, he jumped up on the couch in the middle of the conversation right next to Oprah. His behavior was not only over the top, but extremely unprofessional, and viewers immediately started sympathizing with Oprah. Because despite being a talented host with years of TV experience, the situation was clearly out of her depth. Now, eventually Tom's off-screen antics began to affect his career, as in 2006 Paramount Pictures ended its 14-year working relationship with the actor, fearing his erratic actions were going to negatively impact receipts for the upcoming Mission Impossible 3. Now, Redstone was quoted by CNN saying, "Although we like him personally, we thought it was wrong to renew his deal. His recent conduct has not been acceptable to Paramount." And lastly, we have the 60 Minutes interview. It might not be as disastrous as his interview with Matt Lauer, but Tom's appearance on 60 Minutes Australia makes for a tense and uncomfortable viewing nonetheless. In June 2005, he was interviewed by journalist Peter Overton to talk about his Scientology beliefs and Hollywood stardom. Now, during the interview, he asked a series of questions about his ex-wife Nicole Kidman, and the pair divorced in 2001, have 2 children which have become estranged from Nicole after their divorce. Now, eventually, Tom felt that the questions had gone too far and chastised Peter for asking them. He said, "You're stepping over the line now. You're stepping over the line. You know you are." When Overton said that he was asking questions that the public wanted to know, Cruz replied, "Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know, don't say other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you, right? I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in." Now, Peter apologized so the interview could continue, but years later in 2020, he said that he didn't regret asking the question.
Kim Kardashian recently shared how she makes sure her kids aren't finishing all their Halloween candy. In an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live ahead of her American Horror Story Delicate Part 2 finale, the 43-year-old reality star and entrepreneur shared with Kimmel what it was like growing up next to Madonna in her childhood and adult years, and what it's like trick-or-treating with the Material Girl singer. Kimmel's like, "I would imagine this is like a celebrity neighborhood, but like, you've got good candy, right?" Kim was like, "Yes," and then Kimmel was like, "Madonna allowed her kids to eat candy? She seems very healthy." And Kim was like, "Yeah, absolutely, she's very healthy. But I mean, I take it and then I throw it away, or I donate it." Kimmel was like, "Okay, so if you take away your kid's candy, next time videotape it. I'd like to have it. Kind of a hobby of mine," which obviously he was referring to his viral segment where every year, the day after Halloween, Parents videotape their kids, telling them they ate all their candy, they send him the video, he plays it, and people laugh, or so I'm told. Apparently with fame comes the right to be slobs, at least according to the Kardashian housekeepers, who claim the girls never clean up after themselves, yet expect their rooms and closets to always be camera ready. Well, there's no doubt that the Kardashian women are busy with their multiple shows, their families, numerous business ventures. Some folks have argued that they don't have the right to be so demanding of the housekeepers who help to tend their homes, which I agree. This even led to a lawsuit in 2021, as reported by NBC News, with 7 workers, not 1, not 2, but 7, claiming that Kim Kardashian failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks, while expecting her housekeepers to always be on call to pick up after her. Look, if you want luxury services, you've got to pay luxury prices. That's how it is. You've got to pay overtime. You got to pay expenses. You have to provide breaks. Legally mandated for a reason. Shayna Moakler, Travis Barker's ex-wife, went on a podcast and claimed that Kim Kardashian hooked up with him, which is a major bombshell considering Travis is now married to Kim's sister Kourtney. Not only that, but there was allegedly cheating involved. Yeah, Shayna claimed that Travis was seeing Kim behind her back and that Kim played a major part in the breakdown of their marriage. Now, this was during an appearance on the Dumb Blonde podcast, and Shayna revealed that she and Travis were working on their relationship when she was sent text messages between him and Kim from some anonymous source. What did those text messages say? They were trying to meet up at her sister's house to do the deed. Now, apparently when she showed the text to Travis, he had already deleted them. So yeah, she had reason to be suspicious. But what people can't seem to get over about this story is the fact that Travis might have been interested in Kim before he was into Kourtney. And that's something that would promote hurt feelings all around. But like, is Kim Kardashian really a homewrecker? Would she really go after her sister's man and not put it on TV? I don't know. Sounds unlikely to me. I feel like this should have been a storyline of some sort on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Like, Kim K used to have a lot of high-profile celebs on her list of friends. We're talking Beyonce, even Taylor Swift for a hot minute. But her former assistant Stephanie revealed that Beyonce and Kim had quite the feud and often badmouthed each other, which hasn't become like super known because they did it privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she tries to be better than everybody else too. Let's see, we've got a whole list of people that she's cut off over the years. Jordan Woods, Blac Chyna, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who has a big ego, but would any of us act different in Kim's situation? Most of us will ever know, but like, why would you think you're better than your friends? According to a March 2023 Bloomberg Businessweek report, Kim was questioned by the feds as part of this crazy investigation into the big Malaysian financier. I think his name is Zhou Lo, who was a mogul at the center of the big infamous 1MDB fund embezzlement scandal. So US prosecutors alleged that Lo had stolen at least 4.5 billion from One Malaysia Development Berhad, which was founded and led by a former prime minister. The Justice Department indicted Lo in 2018 for conspiring to launder billions of dollars stolen from the development fund and paying out hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes. And since then, he's been like a fugitive. I think he's living in China. In 2019, Kim told the FBI that she once played Baccarat in a Las Vegas casino with Lo and others, and she ended up winning big. Now, he told her, keep your chips, which were worth $350,000. And she told the FBI that when she went to the casino counter to cash out, she was handed $250,000 in a trash bag full of $100 bills. So she put the trash bag full of cash in her carry-on bag and boarded a Southwest Airlines flight back to LA. Once again, sketch. On a later trip to Vegas, Kim collected the remaining $100K, again, in a trash bag. Look, I don't know a lot of big gamblers, but this sounds sketchy. Don't you think? Let me know in the comments. The Kardashians are known to take many extravagant vacations and ventures, and one memorable visit to Bora Bora on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, people will know about it. Well, there, Kim reportedly lost her diamond earrings, leading the whole family to search the water for her prized jewelry. Naturally, losing something of such great worth and importance brought plenty of viewers in and sparked a lot of discussion online about the episode. Everybody was worried, where's Kim's earring? Seriously, like, there's people who have never seen a whole episode of the show, but if you quoted them, Kim, there's people dying, they'd roar laughing. I'm not even a super fan. I quote it all the time. But the problem here, according to RadarOnline.com, Kim's ex-husband, Chris Humphries, said it didn't actually happen. Kim did lose her earrings. The move was a publicity stunt to get views. While this surely wasn't the only time Keeping Up with the Kardashians created a false moment, the lost earrings are a prime example of the lack of reality in the reality show. It also shows viewers should reserve judgment and sympathy when something happens on the show, since it might be fabricated for views, which is something we'll talk about more in a moment. We all know reality TV is quasi-scripted by this point in our lives. If you didn't, my bad. But when something is this heavily scripted, it's just annoying. When you hear about the Kardashians, you probably automatically assume they're entitled divas, and sadly, you're not wrong. Reports have surfaced that the Kardashians, especially the younger generation, were very kind to the camera crew when Keeping Up with the Kardashians first started in 2007. But as the show progressed, the family got a lot more famous, their kindness and respect for the crews they worked with dwindled, causing unpleasant and unfriendly moments, to say the least, behind the scenes. Ah yes, when fame and money reveal people's true colors. According to The Sun, the Kardashians repeatedly berate crew members and make unreasonable demands on anybody in their path. Additionally, the girls often try to direct what happens or demand multiple reshoots of simple moments on the show to place themselves in the best light they can, at the expense of the rest of the family and crew. Well, after learning how poorly they treat their staff, this probably isn't a big surprise revelation to anybody, but it's not a good thing, and probably something the girls want to keep under wraps. One of the most talked about events of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was Kim's extremely short-lived marriage to Kris Humphries. This marriage lasted less than 3 months and commanded headlines for months if not years following the split. The whole situation was awkward, and Humphries reportedly felt betrayed by Kim, feeling that the marriage was all in the name of ratings. The 72-day wedding will forever live on in infamy. And when you consider there's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess it was a boon for the girls. Why would they waste all that time and money? No. Why would you waste all that time and money if it wasn't gonna work out? Who knows? According to the Washington Post, the marriage was meant for just PR, just to drive awareness and ratings for the show. In fact, Kim wanted her goodbye to Humphries to be on the show, but producers were like, it's a little much. These days, Humphries wants nothing to do with the family and has asked to be completely omitted from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Sorry dude, wish you all the best away from this circus. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets, but it's worth mentioning. So easily one of the most controversial moments in the Kardashian saga is the release of Kim's intimate tape with Ray J. When the tape was first leaked, Kim sued the company to keep it out of the public eye. But a lot of folks have pointed out that Kim has made an impressive $5 million from the home movie. And it's possible that this leak was a publicity move. In fact, Ray J himself said it was Kim's mom, Kris, who actually released the tape. A lot of people believe the release by Kris was meant to drive attention to the family, and it worked. Only 6 months after the tape was leaked, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered with strong viewership. For her part, Kris did do a lie detector test on The Late Late Show with James Corden and said she had nothing to do with the leak. But who's gonna trust a lie detector test on a talk show? Also, who trusts James Corden? As one might expect from a reality TV show these days. Yes, I've already said it, not everything you see is real. And a lot of the events on Keeping Up with the Kardashians were staged, including Kourtney's vicious vocal battles with Scott. It's just bonkers. According to the New York Daily News, once the camera stopped rolling, the duo would laugh about the filmed fights and the drama, and they would discuss how it would drive viewership up. That being said, it's also been revealed that Scott has faced serious addictions, leading some folks to wonder if the fights on the show were real, they were scripted, they were a mixture of both, just playing off of the original fights. The assumptions made were, maybe the fights being fake was a cover-up for how serious the issues were in the relationship. Regardless, there's no denying the tension these fights created among fans of the show. The duo ended up splitting for good in 2015, and Kourtney is now married to the famous musician Travis Barker. I guess we'll just never know what's real, what's calculated with the Kardashian family.